Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a discussion over Pillars of Fate. It's upside down. Dang it. I don't know how Rodney does it from Watch It Played. I bet you it takes him like 30 tries to do that box flip. Yes, so this is one of the newest mini-games by Ivy Studio, same company that has done Mythic Mischief and Scales of Fate, even though Scales of Fate comes out, I think, next year. And, there's the other game that was in the same universe. Funny enough, whenever I got this game in, I think this came with the Kickstarter for Scales of Fate or something you can add. Anyway, I thought it was Scales of Fate, and whenever I was explaining it to a friend of mine, I was like, oh yeah, no, it's that two-player deduction game. And then I got it, and I'm like, oh no, it is not. So I don't know what the hell this game is. Anyway, what this game actually is a 1v1 kind of lane battler game where you have a deck of cards that essentially just has icons on them of a power, which is the number, and then a suit, whether it is feathers or scales. And you are taking turns playing cards in one of the three lanes, trying to win that lane to get points, or lose the lane to force your opponent to get negative points. And you do that for 3 acts, or 3 ages of increasing, points based off of the cards in the middle, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. This game was actually very surprising to me on kind of how much I liked it, because there's a lot of nuance whenever you are deciding which cards you want to play down. It does a couple things that makes me enjoy it more than if it was just as I described it. Because there's a few things that turn that on its head. If it was just literally take cards, play them in a lane, and then count up the strength at the end of the age, that would be fine. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But one thing that is just very simple is whenever you are shuffling up your deck, because while I have not seeded out the cards for each side, I imagine the decks are identical. It'd be kind of weird if they weren't. But you shuffle the deck and you remove 4 cards from your deck, and those are just out of the game. So I do enjoy that because it adds a sense of unknown to your own deck, because if you know exactly how your deck is constructed, then you would be able to essentially count the cards and be like, okay, I know exactly that there's 3 9s in the deck. I only have drawn 2 of them. We're in age 3, and you draw exactly up to your entire deck throughout the game. So it's like, I know I will draw my 9. And to a lot of people, I think they would like that. They would like that perfect knowledge of, I know exactly what I'm going to get, I just don't know when. That removal of the 4 cards I enjoy, because you don't know if that 9 was randomly taken out at the beginning of the game. You don't know what was taken out of your opponent's deck, so you're never quite sure on what your opponent can play at any given time. But you can, if you play this game enough, you could kind of get an idea. And I've actually played this game quite a bit because it is so simple to set up. So simple to set up and so simple to play, but it ends up being one of those games that the more you play it, the layers start to show itself to be a little bit deeper than just a kind of lane battler. So that I really enjoy. The other thing is each age has 4 cards, even though you only put 3 out, so that kind of adds a little bit of variety to the ages. The ages themselves are not really that special. Some of them have really high point values for a particular suit, but then really low negative points for the other suit, and vice versa. So that adds a sense of strategy on which ones you really want to put all your eggs in. But they have these goals, I think is what they're called, and there are 9 of these, and you shuffle them all up and you put one on the middle lane, and it gives that lane a unique effect. Like the ones in this game I literally just played was the first card that you play in this lane, it doesn't have any suits. Then in the age 2, the strength of the first card you play is doubled. And then in the third age, it was the strength of the first card you played is 0. So there's some modifiers like that. There's ones where each lane can have 2 face down cards, because one hard rule about the game is each lane can only have 1 face down card, and the rest have to be face up. And you only play up to 3 cards in any given lane. So that makes it to where there's a sense of unknown for that, where it's like, oh, hey, in this lane we can play 2 face down cards, which is huge. There are some where only 2 cards can be played in a lane, so it adds a randomization to only one lane. And when I was first playing this, I was thinking, well, why don't they do that for all the lanes? There's 9, I think there's 9 total objectives or goals or whatever they're called to the middle lane. Why do you only put 1 there instead of all 3? I don't know. I mean, my guess would be that it's not so chaotic. And grab the rulebook. And it's just kind of odd with how many there are that you would think that you would be able to do that. And it'd be interesting if they put variants in the rules, where it's like, hey, one of the variants, every single lane gets a rule. I don't see why you couldn't do that. The age cards allow you to place a objective there, so I mean, you could effectively do that and just have a kind of more chaotic game. Because I'm trying to think of any of the objectives that would make that weird, and it doesn't, because all of them are only affected of that lane. So it would definitely make for an interesting game. But it's on the rules, so that's I typically don't add variants in my discussions, because I pretty much don't play discussions. I play the game as is, and that's what I talk about. So yeah, the objectives I think are really neat. They modify a particular lane, giving the other 2 a more fair balance, and then the middle one's the odd one out, so I enjoy that. But my favorite thing of this game is the divine cards. So there's a pile of divine cards, and these are the difference makers, I think, in your game. Like I said, each deck is presumably identical, but at the beginning of the game, you are given 3 cards from a divine deck, and you pick one, and you hand the other 2 to your opponent. And it's not like, oh, then they pick one and hand it back. They keep the other 2. And that is a very interesting system, because normally it's exactly how I just mentioned it. It is, okay, here's my 3, I pick one, hand the other 2 to you, they pick one and hand one back. But the only knowledge that you have that your opponent does not is which one you got to see first. If I'm looking at my starting 3 cards, Jesus Christ, I just drew some ones I have not seen yet, is which one of these am I keeping? And that my opponent has no idea that's one I got to see first. But now I know which 2 I just gave them. Now it's just a matter of when do I think they're going to actually play it. And the backs are different than the 2 decks, so even if they play one of the divine cards face down as one of their only face down cards, you have to try and think, okay, is that one of the ones that I handed them, or is that the one that they got to keep at the start of the game? And these are wildly game-breaking. These are so much fun. And what's awesome is you can only play 1 per age, and you have to play 1 per age. And I think that's really cool, too, because you're not allowed to snowball effects. You're not able to be like, oh, by the way, I'm just going to put all 3 of my divine cards in 1 lane. Nope. So it adds another element of strategy on your side, because a lot of them have to do with what is in your current hand. Because, well, like one, for example, that I played in this game was, if you lose all lanes, you gain 10 points. It's called Renown, but it's like, so that's extremely interesting, because I've had that card in 2 separate games, and the last time I used it was in H3, because I was holding on to low value cards. So And typically, the lower the value of the card is, the higher the suit is. So it has this cool dynamic of, okay, I can play this divine card, lose all of the lanes, get 10 points, but then I can try and strategically play my cards to make it to where the negative victory point value suit wins, because I should have more suits than my opponent. And so that's one way of using just that one divine card. And then the other way is, I can use it in age 3 because, or not in age 3, in age 1, because even if my opponent wins all of them, it's not that many victory points. Because if your opponent wins all of them in age 3, that could be like 25 points. It could be a huge point that it's like, well, I guess I still get 10 points, but they got a 15-point swing on me, so it probably didn't matter. But that is just one example of one divine card, and there's a handful of them. And because the backs are different, you get to know exactly when your opponent plays one. So that is super cool. There are some cards that you have to play. You have to play them face up. There are some cards. There are some cards that get a benefit if they're played face down, or if they get a negative if they're played face down. Like this one in this last game was, if this card's power becomes -1 if played face down, otherwise it's a 7. And I was playing this game with my girlfriend. She's like, "Why would I ever play this face down?" And it's like, well, it seems very nuanced, just because it depends on what your opponent is playing. But if they're playing a bunch of suits that you don't have in your hand to counter, it's like, okay, they're ramping up for the negative victory points. Like, because this age right here is, if Scorpion Tails win, it's -8 points, and if Feathers win, it's just a 4-point swing. It's like, okay, they've played a lot of Scorpion Tails over there, and it's low value, so is there any, I can't outdo their suits, so I'm going to play low value, and then play this card face down, and they think they're going to win. Then we reveal, it's like, haha, that was played face down. I actually only have 8 strength here instead of the 15 you thought I was going to have. So you actually win now, and because you played all those Scorpion suits, you're also going to get -8 points. So this game has a lot of kind of like upset turns, where, oh man, I really thought I was going to win this, but because of the divine card that was played there, it completely flipped it, and that means that all the points that you had over the course of the first 2 ages is now gone, because you just got a bunch of negative points. So these divine cards alone make me really, really like this game. And the way that they do that drafting, it's not drafting, but that choice selection at the very beginning of the game is extremely interesting, and I like it a lot. I like the fact that you have to hand 2, and they're all good. You have to hand 2 to your opponent and hope that they don't do it in a way, play it in a way that just completely outdoes any strategy that you have. So yeah, like all of those small elements to a very tiny card game makes this a lot of fun to play. Like I said, it's extremely quick to get to the table, very simple to learn, and then it's literally just count up victory points at the end, and it's like, okay, here are my negatives, here are my positives, remove those. I got 8 points left. Oh, you got 10? Cool, you win. And then you just grab the cards and shuffle them up, and then you're ready to go. It's one of the more simple games that I have in my collection, but also the one that has a pretty good amount of strategy. That it kind of becomes one of those games in the genre of like, yeah, we know how to play, but now it's getting into the headspace. Like, there's so many times where you'll play a card face down in an area, and then draw up, and you're looking at your cards in your hand, and it's like, okay, where do I want to put this? Like, do I want to try and fight to win that? Okay, what do they have face down? Is there any way I can try and figure out what that is? Like, there's been times where I've been playing this game, and it's like, okay, this is worth a lot of points. Oh, I can all of a sudden, never mind, I'm not going to try to win. I'm going to try and I'm going to win this through suits. So, and hope that my opponent beats me in score. And if they do, then that's going to be negative points to them. Because in this kind of game, it's 1v1, so negative points to your opponent is essentially positive points to you. So it is a very delightful game. The art on the cards, I think, is awesome. I really enjoy this artwork. I know it's in their other games that are in the Fate series, I guess is what we'll call it. But yeah, they have designed a very delightful strategic card game where it's not too sweaty, but it's also, sweaty enough that you feel good whenever you actually pull off like a really cool card play. Or you get into the head of your opponent, but it's not so much so. Because there's enough randomness, of course, with your deck alone, that it's not going to feel so demoralizing if your opponent completely outplays you. It's just like, well, these are the cards that I end up having in my hand at the end of the game. You make do with what you can, but it's like a 30-minute game, and you just play it again. So I really like it. It's a good one. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give Pillars of Fate an 8. Oh, you see what I did there? Yeah, nope. It's an 8 out of 10. I really like it. Like I said, if this game didn't have the divine cards, it probably would be like a 6. Honestly, like it'd be like, oh, this is fine. Like I wouldn't be as enamored with it because it would just kind of be like, all right, yeah, we have the same decks, we're still playing them. Yeah, the goal cards, the goal or the objective tokens are a nice wrinkle into a lane. Again, have no idea why you couldn't add them to multiple lanes if you wanted to. And then, of course, the removal of the 4 cards. Those are all nice touches to a game that if it had none of this, it would just kind of be a fine 5 out of 10 game. But it's like, okay, with those, it adds to a 6, but these divine cards really make this game a lot of fun. And there are a solid amount of cards here that just any combination of 3 you're going to get, and being forced to play them into a lane is... really elevates this game to another level, I think. So, 8 out of 10 for Pillars of Fate, and that's it. So, let me know what you think of the game in the comments below, and like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.